Who loves good books, anyone who loves good storytelling is in for a treat over the next week. The first Maine Lit Fest is happening. It will be running through October 8th in Waterville and in Portland. It's presented by the Maine Writers and Publishers Alliance and the Colby College Creative Writing Program. With us here on 207 is Gibson Fay LeBlanc from the Maine Writers and Publishers Alliance. Thanks for coming in. It's good to have you here.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
This was an idea that has been kicked around for a while, and it's finally happening. What is this event all about? What are you doing here?
This is a week-long literary festival, 50-plus writers, both writers from Maine and from outside of the state. And there's all kinds of different events, conversations, readings that are going to be happening in different locations. And the idea is really just to get people together around books and talk and have good conversations.
Maine is a place where we're lucky because for a state of 1.3 million people, we have a lot of accomplished writers, don't we?
A ton of accomplished writers, many of whom are members of our organization. All across every county of Maine has wonderful writers. And that's one of the great resources and why we really wanted to pull this festival off.
One of the things that the Lit Fest does is offers something for really every taste. You've got workshops or conversations or whatever on everything from poetry to parenthood. And that, I assume, is part of the idea. You want to get people into the tent, in effect, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Lincoln Peirce talking about comic writing. We've got conversations about parenthood, conversations about the natural world, conversations about fiction and novels. It's really runs the wide gamut.
This kind of thing doesn't work unless the writers are on board. Did you find that writers were eager to say, yes, I'll come, I'll be there?
Absolutely, yeah, a lot of writers. First of all, Maine's a wonderful place to visit for the writers who are coming in from out of town, but also lots of Maine writers lined up, volunteered, asked if they could help. Yeah.
And some big names. You mentioned Lincoln Peirce, who is the creator and artist who does the comic Big Nate. Richard Russo is going to be involved. Jennifer Finney Boylan, great writer, columnist for the New York Times for a long time. You got real talent here.
Yeah, and lots of up-and-coming writers. For example, Morgan Talty, whose book is getting a lot of attention. He's a Penobscot fiction writer, grew up in that part of the state. He's got a first book called Night of the Living Rez that's just won the New England Book Award for fiction, and lots of other writers at all levels of accomplishment.
It really gets underway in a big way tomorrow in Waterville with a lot of events, and then the scene shifts to Portland, as we said, runs through October 8th. And also, for people who maybe can't get to either of those places, there's going to be an online element.
Yes, there's a Tuesday night event, Tuesday, October 4th at USM in Portland. That's a celebration of Native writers with Morgan Talty, who I mentioned, and two other Native writers from other parts of the country. That'll be online. There's also an event on Wednesday night that's celebrating trans writers and trans voices, and that's on Zoom. So those are a couple examples of things. People can check our website for all the details.
This is something that you hope will continue. This is the first time you've done it, and you don't want to get too far ahead of yourselves, but the hope is that this is going to be around for a while.
That's right. We're building momentum, and there's tons of interest, frankly, in covering a bigger swath of the state, having events happen in further flung areas, and we look forward to trying to do that in future years.
When people admire someone who's written a book, I think they're sometimes intimidated and they don't want to go bother them. They don't want to bug them. But writers, most of the time, like to interact with their fans, don't they?
They do, and they love to talk, and they love to talk about stories. And at the end of the day, we are all storytelling animals, right? That's what we do. We tell stories. And so that's a lot of the impulse of this festival, is just to get people talking about stories in different ways.
And for people who actually want to see the books, look at the selection. There's a book fair that's coming up towards the end of the festival,
yes,
correct?
On Saturday in Monument Square in Portland, there'll be a big book fair that focuses on Maine publishers. And then also every event will have books for sale by the people who are at that event, and book signings, etc.
Pretty cool. It's nice to see it's kicking off with this. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Hope it comes around again next year, the year after, whatever.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
If you would like more information on the Maine Lit Fest, just head to the 207 section of our News Center Maine website or app. You'll find the full schedule there, all the listings, everything you need to know right there. And stick around. We're going to be back in just a moment.